Today's guest is Kisha Powell. She is the Chief Experience Officer at ACT-IAC, which is a nonprofit bringing government and industry together to solve government problems. But Kisha is also the CEO and owner of Designer Event Concepts LLC, and she focuses there on project management, events, marketing, and social media management, which I can't wait to hear more about. Kisha and I have known each other for many years through my interactions with ACT-IAC, and so I'm very, very pleased to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Happy to join you and have a conversation.
So, for those who have not met you and got a chance to know you, talk a bit about where you're from, who you are, and what you do.
Right. Well, I'm from DC. I'm like a unicorn in this area. I'm like one of the only ones who actually was born and raised here and kind of stayed here. And I've pretty much been in the events field for my entire career, which is very interesting and kind of fell into it. So
Hmm.
uh, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
interesting. So then, as you were coming out of high school, what
Yeah.
is that what you wanted to do? That's what that was on your radar?
Well, when I came out of high school, I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Oh, okay.
And then went to college. I went to the University of Maryland, go Terps, and sat in my first biology class and thought about the fact that I would have to talk to parents about very sick children and decided that was not for me. And so I kind of fumbled around, decided maybe psychology is it, maybe sociology is it. And I remember my academic advisor sitting me down and she said, you're getting A's in all of your English classes. Why don't you be an English major? And I was like, what do I do with English? But okay, that sounds fun. We'll do that. But yeah, so that's kind of the path that I took. I did not expect to be in events. I actually, um, while I was working there, worked for the International Education Services Office. I was actually just talking to my mom about this. This was 30 years ago. And the graduate assistant that I worked for was putting together the international student orientation. And right in the middle of us planning it, he had taken another graduate assistantship and was like, it's all yours. You get to take it. And at 18 years old, I put together the International Student Orientation, which was it's like a domestic orientation, except for it includes vaccinations. It includes helping people find housing and making sure that their visas are okay. So that was my first foray into conferencing. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
And so then, as you graduated, did you just go into a job in that field then right away?
I took another job on campus with campus guest services, and they did summer conferences. I stayed there for the rest of my time and then took a job at a temp agency doing conferences, which was really fun. And then ended up back at Maryland. So I've been, it's interesting because I've kind of like stumbled my way into opportunities. It's every time I turn around, there's an opportunity, and it's like, oh, that's great. I'll take it and see where it takes me. So yeah,
Oh,
that's kind of where it's going.
that's really good though, because not everybody would say yes to that, right? When the
Yeah,
opportunity came up, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm kind of happy where I'm at,"
yeah,
or what other excuse to avoid change. So that's really genius of you to say, "Yeah, let's do it," and take the opportunity.
yeah. Thank you.
So then, what brought you to starting your own company? I mean, I know you do this for a living for ACT-IAC,
Yeah.
but how did that come about?
Well, I was sitting around with my sister one day, and one of our friends wanted to get married and needed help with a wedding. And I'd been doing events for a while. My sister is into like graphic design and spatial design and all kinds of things. And she said, we can do this. So we started a little event planning wedding like company, and we did a handful of weddings. I decided I don't like weddings, but whenever you do a wedding, I'll do the wedding with you. And so from there, I decided that I wanted to stick on the corporate path and kind of do corporate events and support people. And so that's what I've done and kind of passively done events along the way. And then in 2020, I took my experience with virtual events and really built the company out. And then since then I've been doing a lot of like social media and marketing work, a lot more than event work, which is interesting. my sister has her degree in marketing and I have mine in public relations. So we've been leaning into that a little bit more. But it's again another like kind of stumbled into it and it was an opportunity that I decided to kind of go for.
I love that. I love it when an idea comes about and you're like, yeah, why not? Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then it turns into something, and then it turns into something different. And
Yeah.
uh, I think that having the guts to just do that is important. Not everybody has that kind of entrepreneurial drive to say, I'll take the risk. I'll take the risk and give it a shot. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so then looking back at your variety of experience and the various places you've been, what's something that you ran into that you were like, gosh, I just wish it wasn't like that. It's a stumbling block of sorts, and it really hinders people who are trying, to do things. And I'll caveat to say, you and I, we can toss around a bunch of ideas, but we're not necessarily in a position to make a change that could make that better. But what would you raise so that hopefully awareness can be given to this?
Yeah. I think every place that I've worked, every opportunity that I've, taken hold of in the company that I have, I think the biggest thing is siloing. I think
Mhm.
folks, I'm very much an advocate of connectivity and bringing people together. And so seeing people trying to do things, in their own little avenue is very frustrating to
Mhm.
me. I think when I worked at Maryland, when I worked at the American Council or Community Bankers was a bankers association. Everywhere that I've gone, there's so many silos and people just need to connect and talk to one another and we can solve all of the problems of the world if we do that, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, you see that in work in general, right?
mhm.
All the time. This is my little fiefdom. Do not interfere. And the good news is, they're very protective of their people sometimes. The bad
Yeah.
news is they cut everybody off from their own expertise,
Yeah.
and they don't bring that to bear for the greater good of the whole company. And the same thing goes, they don't take your expertise. They're not willing to expect. So it does kind of stifle opportunity.
Hmm. Yeah. People tend to be protective of their ideas, or their little corner of the world. And yeah, sometimes it takes a conversation, it takes some connection, it takes some shared interest, and lots of good things happen when that happens. So
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, as a possible solution, right? We're not trying to necessarily solve, finalize any solution, but that is a very good point that empathy, friendly interaction,
yeah,
it breaks down barriers really, really well, including those people.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I look for the difficult conversations sometimes because I like to solve problem. I'm a problem solver, and I think that's probably part of why I'm an event planner, because I see a problem and I have to solve it. Not that having conversations or connecting with people are problems. I think that the communication barriers are the problem. And I look at it as a challenge if I find someone that I need to, cross that barrier with so that we can find that common place. So,
yeah, I love the way you put that. Cross that barrier, right? Make that connection somehow. Yeah, I work in government. I see silos a lot, so I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about, and they
absolutely.
are tough. They are tough to break.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's coming up for you here in the near future? What do you have on your radar?
Well, I am trying to build my business and take it into different paths. It's interesting. I mentioned that we do a lot of marketing and PR, and we do a lot of contract work and help people out. I would love to get back into like the corporate event planning, kind of like what I do for Act IAC, but um, just on a broader scale. And so we're looking for opportunities to do that now. And we actually have a business meeting this weekend. So my sister and I, that is, and hopefully we'll be able to take it to the next level and do some new things.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think now that we're come out the other side of COVID,
Yeah,
it's far enough in our rearview mirror.
yeah,
Interaction, personal interaction, team building, whatever it is. There's great opportunities there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Keisha, I am looking forward to seeing how that goes for you.
Thank
I have attended events that you organized, and they're fantastic. So,
you.
good job, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Absolutely. It was great talking to you, Jeremy.